Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 24 hours for the day of 1317, 2nd of October. So we're going to jump straight into it at the Kharkiv front over in Voschansk. So this is the Voschansk in the Kharkiv front. We have the Battle of Voschansk going on for some time. We finally have some updates. Basically, there was a geolocation of Russian forces at this position, which means we can confirm that part of the Russian claims in this sector is now verified, that the Russians indeed have advanced in this sector here inside of the western part of Voschansk. So yeah, so there is a small change in the grand scale of things, tiny change. The next frontline change, we jump all the way to the Evil Rabbit front, the Pokrovsk breakout zone. As you can see, the Evil Rabbit is here. And so the in the north, at Zoloty, so just to take note, yesterday the Ukrainians claimed some big, massive counter-offensive operations in this sector here. However, the geolocation seems to come in the north here, where the Russian forces has been geolocated in a new position north of Zoloty, and this confirms the Russians have advanced in this northern part of the town. It's unknown if the Russians actually have control of the town. Actually, this is actually a question mark. Like this is a terrible question mark. So anyway, yeah, so the Russian advance here is around 1 kilometers. So that is the situation here. If the Ukrainians have positions around here, then this could be a flanking operation. If not, if the Russians have positions here, then perhaps the front line might even look something like this, where all of these areas here are all under Russian control. That is also a possibility. So we do not know what's the reality. So and honestly, even if you map it like this, most of these areas here, there's no human beings. There's totally no human beings over there. Just to a bit of a sidetrack. For example, Rubin's, you can see all these are listed as under Russian control, but perhaps there's only 2 soldiers here, and then 2 soldiers here, maybe 1 soldier or 3 soldiers here, and then another one here, and maybe another 2 soldiers here. Yeah, and that's it. It could be just like this. So just to know, this mapping is for reference purposes. It's just have a general sense of how the war is going. It's not reality. Reality is just this. Who knows? There might be Ukrainian soldiers actually here, and maybe another one is just behind them, and then another one is here. This is probably closer to what reality actually is. So so take it with a pinch of salt. This like the front line here, especially this sector here, the rabbit ears, is very, very gray zone-ish. So yeah, so important thing to note. That's the reason why when drones fly over, you don't see soldiers everywhere. Basically, there's always nothing to see when the drone is flying, because everyone is in hiding. So just to take note. And but what is not in hiding is the frontline change at Dorozhny. So the Ukrainian forces have launched a counter-offensive in this sector here, now confirmed by geolocation. However, it's not as far as what the Ukrainians claim. The Ukrainian mapping claim all the way to Nikhanorivka. However, in the geolocation, what we have is up to this point. So the Ukrainians have an armored vehicle parked here, probably send troops into the forest. And so that confirms the frontline change in this sector. We just draw a general line. So the Ukrainian forces advance in Dorozhny, kicking out the Russians entirely from Dorozhny. Previously, the Russians had a position here. So advance is probably 800 meters at most for now. So that is the frontline change in Dorozhny. Also, this one is at the mouth of the rabbit, of the rabbit ear. The rabbit is doing a kiss. Then that's the kiss. That's the lips. And the Russian kiss, the Ukrainian chop it off. So that's what it is. So after the Dorozhny, which is the only frontline change for the Ukrainians, the next frontline change is over in the Komar front. So in the Komar front, this is Komar. You probably can't see this Komar. There's a few frontline changes in this sector here. So let me turn this off. Probably can see better. There's this few. These are all Ukrainian mapping. So what's the difference is that this sector here, south of Voronezh, west of Malievka, is Ukrainian disclaim. They now do not acknowledge that they have. They acknowledge that they have lost this area here to the Russians. The same goal for the area northwest of Berezove, all the way to Stepove. This is also disclaimed, as well as in the southeast of Verbove. This is a Russian capture, also mapped by the Ukrainian mapping. So this one and this two, these are all just disclaimed. The Russians have already claimed the front line have moved much further away. So this is just Ukrainian mapping catching up to maybe reality. This one here in the south is the firm capture. So this is the main captured area. The advance is probably maybe 500 to 1 kilometer. So that's around it. So that's Verbove. The next frontline change is further south in the Hulyaipole sector. So this is Hulyaipole or Guyapole. The frontline change is over in the eastern flank of this front line, part of this South Komar offensive. So this frontline change, this big piece here is by Deep State UA. We cover this one first. This over at Novokhrikhovka, the Russian mapping, RIBA, have updated the map in a very straight line. They basically straightened the front line in this sector here, claiming the Russian forces have entered into Novokhrikhovka or Novogrigorevka. So that is the frontline change in this sector. The advance is probably around 1 kilometer on average. So, but this is a claim, so take it with a pinch of salt. And so further south, this big piece here, this giant piece is a Ukrainian disclaim. Only this corner here is a capture. Everything here has been already claimed to be captured by the Russian forces. So, so the Russian forces have basically fully secured Ohivske. The Ukrainian mapping have acknowledged that Ohivske have been lost to the Russians, but then this thing stretches all the way further up north, with the Russians capturing a huge chunk of territory in this sector here. So so the advance, if it's an advance at all, probably is around 1.5 to 2 kilometers on average. So this is a very, very big frontline change. The piece itself is 9.12 square kilometers. So, but it doesn't change our situation strategically because we already put into consideration the Russians mapping. So, so that's the frontline change in this sector. There's still one more frontline change over in the Zaporizhia front. This Zaporizhia, over in the Kamyanske sector, there is a tiny frontline change at Stepnohursk. The battle of Stepnohursk continues with a geolocation of Russian forces basically over here. So this leads to a slight frontline change. Let me move the thing over here a bit. To a slight frontline change, I marked it probably around 100 to 200 meters, and that's about it. With the Russians entrenching themselves in this region, there is all this high-rise building which potentially can become some kind of a strong fortress position for the Ukrainians. Until the Russians take this position, I think they would not take Stepnohursk. So, but that's all from this front line, and that's it. So this is all the frontline changes for the past 24 hours. So we're going to do some calculations. The Ukrainians captured 0.67 square kilometers, which is lesser than previously. It's just some corroboration of their claims yesterday. The Russians previously captured 13.88, so today there's definitely more. But important to note, these are all for entertainment purposes because there is overlapping mapping, so we do double count the frontline change. So yeah, so take it for fun, because the reality is entirely different from what we are looking at. So 0.29 plus 0.89 plus 7.94 plus 11.33 plus 0.07. Total area captured is 20.52 square kilometers. So this is the 20 square kilometers range. So looks like the Ukrainians are doing their best to hold back the Russians. There's counteroffensive operations here and there, and the Russians' advance have been limited. The 30 square kilometers did not hold, so we are back to the 20 square kilometers range at most. So that's all. So that's it. So check out the situation report. I have tried this new feature where it allows channels to do collaboration, which means the video have 2 channels named in it. I put it on the DPA Wars SIP So check it out if you haven't watched it, and subscribe over there as well if you want a macro sense of what the war is, how the war is going. So it's a totally different report from the Frontline Change, which we go into a close-up look at the front line. Whereas on the SIP if you haven't watched a situation report from DPA for a long time, it's an entirely different format right now. It's a very macro view of the overall war. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys. Happy birthday to you. You think that I'll forget, right? No, I didn't forget. Happy birthday to you if your birthday today, and I'll see you guys in the next update.